Howdy folks, how's it going everyone? Welcome back to Emnix Plays Path of Exile. We are currently in Act 8. Last episode we took a little longer to do Act 7. Hopefully today won't take us long. There's like 4 days left. It's like what, Monday? Well, Sunday night technically. But by the time we release this episode it will be Monday. And Friday is when the new league gets released. I'm having trouble deciding what build I want to play. You know, originally I did have an intention of playing this as my league start. I feel like it's gonna be a pretty cheap build because it's quite off meta. Maybe this will be the way I go. I don't know, man, because I was looking at Spark, like a Spark Inquisitor. That's a little more meta. And there's like good guides built around that skill, which means I could easily follow something to build around. Whereas this build, there doesn't really exist a guide. So I'm not like too sure how the end game would work out with something like this. I don't know. I'm just like any other player right now, where it's like, do I follow a guide or do I not follow a guide? Except in my case, I'm like, well, I don't want to just like get stuck in yellow maps or red maps or something. But I do know that, you know, there exists players in solo self-found even who have gotten like pretty high leveled characters playing Frostbolt Ice Nova. So I have to assume that this build is doable. Whether it's like good enough to do bosses, I'm not too sure. I did see that there were some videos online of people playing this build last league. So I think it might be okay. Definitely there are better builds out there. I think I know that much. Oh, I have some passive points that whatever. I'm not gonna go back for it. If I miss it, I miss it. I think at this point, if I miss passive points, I'm not too worried about it. Let's just try and get through the campaign as fast as we can. Just because I want to do a few maps. Now, the one thing that kind of messes up our map progression a little bit is that, like, I've already completed the atlas on this character. So really, this experiment is just to see whether we'll get through the campaign okay. And so far, it feels alright. It feels okay. I you know, it could be better, but overall, I guess the build is working as well as I had expected it to. So yeah, and the only reason why I'm considering a meta build is because I might be playing in a party. And the thing is, if you play in a party, things get a little weird. And what I mean by that is the party goes as fast as the fastest person in your party, or the slowest, well, it's rarely the slowest person. So like, say you have one person in your party with like a really fast build. You know, they have a lot of damage, they're running a super meta build, have a lot of damage, they run really fast, they clear super fast. And then there's you. You know, you require, you have a 2-button build, you don't have much movement speed, and in order for you to actually, you know, it takes you a little bit to kill a rare monster or something, right? What typically ends up happening is you just kind of, because your party member has so much damage, usually you just kind of follow them as they kill everything in front of you, and you're just there to pick up items. And that doesn't sound, at least in my opinion, whenever I play like that, it was never really too fun. So the question then becomes, do I want to do party play like that, or do I want something that is either a little bit more meta, in which case, you know, maybe both you and your friend, you know, you can both contribute equally. That's one option. Or alternatively, I could play something that actually plays really well in a party, which would be like a support character, right? So like a aura bot or a curse bot, you know, depending on how many people you play with. I'm still undecided on what I want to do there. If I play an aura bot, chances are I will play this character, and then I'll play the aura bot on the side whenever my friend is online. But again, I don't actually have the luxury of being able to play two characters and have enough time to make meaningful progress with both. So at the end of the day, what I assume would happen is like one character gets left on the back burner, which I'm assuming would be the solo character, but I don't know. We'll have to see. Okay, so pick this up. Honestly, if I'm gonna play a power stack or power charge stacking build, I should probably pick up all the power charges, which means I would have to go on this side too. That seems like a big tree that doesn't seem very good right now. I'll just try and get like as much. I'll just try like play something that's just like nice and stable right now, because I don't think I can go into my endgame build just yet because I don't really have the gear for it.
I need more mana.
Okay. This guy is taking a little bit of damage. Okay, at this point, I have 10 stacks of Enfeeble on me. Let's press the valve. So this boss, he kind of works the same as the Dweedre in Act 5. Wait, Act 4? Which is to say, he casts 3 kinds of curses on you. Well, I mean, we killed him so fast it didn't matter, but it's like he stacks. You can kind of see at the top left, he'll stack more and more of a curse. One is Enfeeble. And then if you press the valve, it'll switch to Temporal Chains. And then if you press the valve again, it'll switch to Vulnerability. So if you find yourself with like too many stacks of one curse, you hit the valve, it dispels your current 10 stacks or whatever. And then you get another one. Typically, you want to avoid a Vulnerability because that just kills you. Enfeeble is fine. It just makes you do less and less damage. And sort of I sat on Enfeeble for the longest time until I stopped doing damage. And I switched to Temporal Chains, which just makes me slower. You know, that sucks too if you get a lot of it, but luckily we were okay there. Okay, Cold and Lightning Res. And then and like we have enough damage right now that we can just kind of wipe him before he can do any substantial damage to us. So oh, that could be a good wand. That could be a good wand. Let's see. No, it's not. It's definitely not. Wow. I thought the flat fire damage would add a lot, but apparently not.
You get 'em, boy. Don't do anything.
Okay. Carnage Heart.
You're right.
A lot of attributes, which is good. Some elemental resistances, that helps too. We lose life. And then you get leech, but we don't actually leech. So this is pure stats and resistances. But I lose a lot of life. I don't know, the stats might be helpful right now. It means I could drop some nodes potentially. Oh wow, I still don't have enough lightning res. Oh, that's a little annoying. I could craft some. And then I have 1600 HP. And then I could level my gems this way. Sure. Okay. Okay, that's pretty good. Alright, let's try and keep going. So we killed the Weedre. After this, you basically end up in a crossroads in the toxic sewers at the waypoint. You can either go left and then make a circle around the left side of the map, or you can go right. And what I've been told is if you go right, you save like having to run through one zone. And since then, I've always chose to go right. I don't. It's probably true, actually. Okay, I don't need any of this stuff. Like new boots would be nice, but that's about it. So one thing that I was thinking about off stream was that I switched from Grace to Determination as one of my defensive auras. But another thing I could consider would be an aura called Purity of Elements. And essentially that aura gives you a lot of elemental resistances and also makes you ailment immune. Essentially what that means is just you're immune to things like freeze, shock, ignite. But most importantly, you would be immune to freeze. You know, there's two things that typically kill you very often, and you need to find a way to, you know, deal with the ailments. One being getting stunned. You know, obviously there's the obvious stuff, which is like not having enough HP, not having enough resistances, so like not having defenses at all. But once you do get defenses, you also need to make sure that you don't get frozen, right? Like no matter how much defenses you have, it doesn't matter if you just get stuck in place and you can't do anything. And similarly, you need to deal with not getting stunned. Typically the way you deal with that is just having like a good HP pool and having good defenses so that you don't take that much damage. You know, the more damage you take, the bigger the stun is. But yeah, so having ailment immunity would help a lot with freeze. It would also help a lot with, you know, stuns, because shocks typically make you take more damage. So you could try and deal with that by, you know, not getting shocked, so you take less damage, you don't get stunned as hard. So, you know, Purity of Elements is a pretty good aura that you can consider. I just opted for Determination instead. Is it better? I don't know. But it seems to be working right now. I think it's like I feel a little tankier than when I was using Grace. So I'll take it at that. You know, I'm just going based off of the how does it feel test instead of like, you know, looking at the numbers. But I don't know, so far it feels good. So as long as it feels like I can continue progressing without actually dying all the time, I'll just keep going without thinking too deep into it, I guess. Okay, so we'll go to the key, the Quay. Apparently, you know, Quay, Q-U-A-Y, is actually pronounced key. I didn't know that until I was probably like, like an adult, like a straight up adult, like in my mid-20s. I'm feeling a little better, by the way. Not as sick anymore as I was the last few days. That in itself is just a godsend, because I was not feeling good. Okay, and here's where we would really benefit from these projectiles returning to us, because I have to recast this thing all the time. Alright, so that's completed as well. So yeah, you just need to make sure that you actually do this quest. So when you're in the key, there's like a little section at the beginning that you have to go into right over here, and it's really hard to miss. I like 9 times out of 10 I miss it, so I always try to remember to go there. And that gives you like the Ankh of Reincarnation or whatever, which is one of the quest items. So you just gotta make sure you pick that up first before you go into that resurrection site with Clarissa. Because it's very easy to miss, and if you miss it, chances are you're gonna miss this quest altogether, right? So once you're done with the resurrection site quest, you actually travel backwards a little bit, and then you continue on the key or the harbor or whatever, right? So at some point there is a crossroads, one taking you to the resurrection site, one taking you over here, and you just want to make sure that when you do get to the next area, you don't miss out on this quest here. I don't actually remember what the rewards are. We should check it out real quick.
Be well.
Clarissa. Okay, yeah, so we do get a book of skill, so that's actually a good quest for you to take on.
See you.
Okay, and we actually have 2 skill points. It's just gonna go into more HP, I guess. Alright, moving on. The Grain Gate. Alright, and with the Grain Gate, we actually use an old school technique that basically existed since like 5 to 10 years ago, which is in order to progress through the areas, you look for doorways with these soldiers, these blackguards. So you'll find dead blackguards at the doorway. If you see them, you go through that doorway, and you just keep going doorway to doorway, looking for those guys. So for example, there's one. This doorway, it doesn't have them, so we're just gonna skip it. And that's sort of like the key to getting through this area very quickly, I guess. Just a little bit of a quick tip. Again, see a blackguard outside? This is where we go. Okay. That's just an easy side quest. Alright, and over here, there's another doorway with the blackguard. I think we're pretty close to the exit. This looks kind of familiar. Yeah, there it is. Into the fields. Now, if I remember correctly, Act 8 is actually pretty quick. So we should be able to get through this in relatively good time. Ow, this guy hurts though. What is he? He stuns? Oh, he doesn't... He's resistance to cold damage. That's kind of annoying. Okay. Come on, that's haul ass. That's haul ass. At this point, like, our build isn't changing much, right? Like, we can add on, or like, we have most of the support gems that we would want. We have our 4 link. Obviously it'd be nice to get a 5 or 6 link, but again, like I mentioned, 5 and 6 links are actually pretty hard to obtain. So it's not too realistic to have them until probably sometime in early maps. Or like end of the campaign, you might have a 5 link. That's probably as good as it gets. So our links are not getting better, right? The only thing we're adding right now is skill points from leveling up. Obviously our skill still gets stronger, simply due to the fact that the skill gem is leveling up. We're still getting more damage. We can potentially get weapon upgrades, but for the most part, at this point, our upgrades are starting to look a little bit more minor. Right up until we do get into maps, and that's when you start farming for currencies. That's where you can start getting some of the higher tiered drops, and potentially, if you're solo self-found, you might want to be farming for certain unique items. If you're in trade, you might want to be farming up a currency so you can buy the necessary items you need to get your build rolling. So there's a bit of a lull in the progression at this point where you just gotta kind of get through it. Where your character is getting stronger, but not substantially so, compared to when you went from 2 links to 3 links and 3 links to 4 links. And you know, you got like these crazy new support gems, and you got these crazy new like weapon upgrades. At this point, your damage upgrades and everything will be a little bit more marginal. That's not to say that, you know, this is it, you know, this is where it gets boring, you're not going to get any more upgrades. You're still getting more upgrades, but there is a lull. There is a lull in the progression of your character for probably the next 2 to 3 acts. Actually, that's not true, because there are power spikes whenever you complete your ascendancy. And really, we could be looking at, what level am I, 61? We should probably be looking at our next ascendancy, because that's like a level 50 something boss fight. Don't know if we have the defenses for it necessarily, but it would give us a huge power spike. So maybe we'll consider it. Actually, why not? So maybe after this, we'll go do our Cruel Labyrinth. That would make our character a lot stronger, actually.
When I'm ready, and not before.
All right. How's this belt? Nope. How's this wand? Nope. All right, so we're looking for Solaris level 2. Should be around here somewhere. What another level. I don't actually know where I'm gonna put these points. This could be good. Less physical damage while on full energy shield. Chaos damage does not bypass. I don't know. That's not it either. I can take, you know what, for now let's just take stuff that'll give me immediate power. So area of effect, cast speed and crit strike chance. That could be good. All right. Oh, it's not level 2. I just need to get to the boss area. Okay, again, I think there was a crafting recipe here at the top left.
I need more mana.
Okay.
Too much clutter.
We get the sun orb. What are these gloves? Attack speed. Wait, what are my current gloves? Oh, my current gloves are garbage. Kills grant an additional Vol soul if you have rampage recently. Gives you rampage. You get regen, recover life and regen. That's a pretty good. That's a pretty good helmet. Hold on one second.
That would just make life complicated.
You getting there?
So let's sell some of this stuff first. Oh, sorry, not pretty. Those are gloves, right? Those gloves are pretty decent. Just for the rampage. Ah, but attack speed. Maybe not. Maybe these gloves are pretty useless, actually. Okay, so once you get the sun orb, you actually keep that around for a bit. It's gonna clog up a little bit of space in your inventory. Just put up with it. And then we'll go ahead and get the next waypoint, which I believe is just like a straight shot down this way, right? Like you just keep going. Don't turn. Don't stop till you're numb. Yeah, Solaris Concourse. There we go. Took my daughter to the zoo this morning. I think I had mentioned it. I think my daughter had a terrible time because she didn't get to nap properly. She spent like a good hour or two just crying nonstop, and then fell asleep for like 2.5 hours or something. By the time she woke up, it was like so late that it was pretty much time to go home. So the entire time it was just like me and my wife going around at the zoo, just walking around looking at stuff, which is fine. I actually enjoy it. But I just thought it was kind of funny how we like spent all this time taking her to the zoo and she just sleeps through the whole darn thing.
That would just make life
Okay,
complicated.
so I think over here, yeah, we can go to the plaza. And let's do the Cruel Lab. I should be a good level for it too. Level 55? Yeah, hopefully I don't die to a Zaro. That would really suck. But let's get our second set of Insanity points. I'm just trying to do this real quick. Same thing as before, by the way. If you don't have a map of where to go for the lab, you could just sort of go into the top right direction. And, you know, if you press this tablet here, you can actually see what the map looks like. And this, well, this first one is obvious, the Aspirant's Trial, which is the boss fight. Okay. I don't know if I have the damage for this guy. So I do need to play a little more carefully.
Receive your sentence. Such resilience.
Oh wow, actually I have pretty good damage against him, huh?
Only one of your lessons was completing Ascendant.
Okay, okay, looking pretty good. What level is this? Level 55? I'm not like too over leveled here. 7 levels, okay, it might be a little bit. So our character is not great at this stuff, just because we have kind of shitty regen. So just, you need to be a little careful here. Just in case the traps kill you. And this is where a lot of people do not like the lab. Because I think a lot of people die to traps, you know? I should actually, oh, I don't have any currency. Shoot, I was gonna say I should roll this flask for bleeding. That would help a lot too. A lot of hidden areas in this zone. Maybe we can get a dark shrine. Oh, we did find one. Labyrinth traps are disabled in the trial. Oh, sweet. That means they're disabled for the boss fights. That's useful. That's very useful. Well, this is the wrong way, so we don't want to take this entrance. Is there another one over here, maybe? Okay. This is right? Yes. Okay, good. Good, 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 good. Okay. Here we go.
When the time comes to strike, an emperor strikes without hesitation. Some things to entertain doubt is never be a
Okay, second phase should be okay. I'm assuming if the first phase went well, second phase should go well too. He does get buffed per phase depending on how you deal with these like challenges. But
You were born for this.
still, he's... I have the damage for it, it
Emperor
seems.
who sits alone on his throne.
Oh man, I can't wait for return projectiles to appear. Like next league, once we have return projectiles, I feel like the damage is going to be so much better. I could be wrong though, I could be so wrong. And then we're just playing a garbage build that doesn't actually work the way I thought it would. It could happen. Okay, this way is right. Okay. Keep going, keep going, keep going. This should be okay. Just keep running. And technically this is slowing down our progression, but I'm assuming the extra damage you get from doing this is probably going to be worth it. And maybe having that extra damage would speed up like the rest of your fights going forward. Like I said, you know, getting these ascendancy points is a big power spike for your character. I like how the traps look all broken and stuff now. Now that you have that dark shrine. That's pretty cool. Alright, we got him. We got him.
I die for the Empire.
There we go. Got 2 treasure keys. We got a wand. Let's see, is there anything else? Everything else we don't really care about. And really the only thing I truly care about is this Altar of Ascendancy. That gives us 2 points. And then Divine Font. Reduce mana cost if you've been hit recently. Sure, we'll put that on our boots. And then treasure chest, we got... nothing. Okay. Alright, so with the 2 points, I'm going to be putting it into... I actually have a lot of choice. I have Forbidden Power, which is 30%. I have 5 power charges, right? 6, actually. So 36 AoE, 36% increased damage. Gain a power charge after spending... That doesn't matter right now. +1 maximum power charge. That's one option. Nearby... I think this would be the best. Nearby option have... Or nearby enemies have -20 to cold resistance. That just seems really strong. That just seems strong. I feel like I have to go with that route. And then maybe after get Vile Bastion for defenses. I could get defenses early, but let's go for damage early and then we'll fill out our defenses as we go along. Okay. So now everything around me should be taking more cold damage as well. They just have less resistances. And so like not only are they getting cursed, they also have less resistance. They might just die from a frostbolt. The blue packs don't. Everything else is... yeah. Everything else is just getting popped. Like, isn't that kind of nice? Okay. Okay. I see. I should have gotten the cold resistance node first, because they're taking a lot more damage now. Now things are getting real smooth. Right?
When I'm ready,
getting stunned there. Okay. So real quick, we want to complete the Lunaris concourse as well. Okay, this guy still takes a lot of damage. Mostly because he's an essence. These essence guys are hard to deal with. And once they're like on your face, it's hard to deal damage to them, eh? Because the frost bolts get away from you. So then the ice nova doesn't do anything. This build is a little clunky in certain ways. Like those rares, kind of hard to kill. Maybe this is one of those situations where you actually run from the rares. If you cannot one-shot them, maybe you just don't bother. Ooh, but if you get a whole pack around him, and then you just blow up everything around him, he might take enough damage. No, still not enough. It's pretty close though. There we go. Oh, definitely. They're getting chunked. Do you see that? They are definitely getting chunked. Okay. What is that? Oh, corrupted zone. Maybe we'll get Vol Ice Nova. That would be helpful. You never know. Vol Ice Nova? Vol Spark. Ah, okay. Never get what I want. Wait, isn't this the area? Oh no, we gotta go to level 2. Okay, hold on, I need to message my wife. But I'm getting surrounded. It's kind of hard to do. Hold on. Okay, my level, what was I looking at? Cast speed, right? Let's look at that. This is where I'm like kinda just making things up as I go along, because I'm not sure if cast speed is the way to go. But I don't really have any better choices right now. You know, jewels are typically something you would go for, but I don't have any good jewels. You know, similarly, I don't have any cluster jewels, so Not too... And mana isn't such a big deal yet, but I could see it becoming a problem later on. I could tack on a little bit of spells, energy shield leech. That might help as well with survivability. That almost looked like a 5-link and I almost got baited. That item right there. Okay. Keep running into dead ends. Again. Okay, maybe this was not meant to be. Let's go this way. No, this is wrong too. Where the heck am I going? Okay, well, there's only one way left. So the way to travel through Lunaris Temple is to find the way up the stairs. So if you notice, you know, you're going up some stairs, then you're going the right way. If you ever find yourself going downstairs, then you've accidentally backtracked to the like previous area. So just keep that in mind. And that's the same with Lunaris Temple in Act 3 with Piety and Lunaris Temple here. Just want to make sure you're not going backwards. Okay, going upstairs. That's good.
When I'm ready and not
Okay, more stairs.
too much clutter.
Let's check these wands real quick. Nope. 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 All no good. So, you know, old me would have gone back and sold all those items. New me needs to get through the campaign, so I'm just gonna drop it on the floor, I guess. New me thinks he has currency when in reality he has nothing. Why am I not selling? I could be. The recovery rate? Sure, it is an upgrade in a way. It's a better flask. Okay, here we are. Here we are. This looks right. Okay. This guy's not taking as much damage. There we go. That took a little longer, didn't it? But we got the sun orb, the moon orb. Now we can actually go back to town, sell everything. There's a few more quests over here, but I'm just gonna go ahead, skip them and go straight to the act boss. And what we'll do is maybe we'll come back later and do those quests. But we managed to do Sanctified Mana Flask. I can keep that. We managed to get our Cruel Lab completed as well, which is a pretty good power spike for our character. So I'm not too upset about that. And then if I manage to, how long is it? 45 minutes? We could probably finish the boss in the next 5 to 10 minutes. Because we got both orbs. Cast speed. Yeah, okay, so let's do that. So we could go further down into those areas, but I don't know. I don't see a need to. You know, I'm probably missing out on 1 or 2 passive skill points right now. And definitely I should go back and get them. Because, you know, your character needs those skill points. It's very useful. But for now, we won't worry about it too much. The character feels pretty good so far, even without, you know, the 2-3 skill points that we're missing.
Oops, clumsy move.
Okay, that's nothing. Alright, here we go. So this is the Act 8 boss fight. We actually got here pretty quick. But that's also because we skipped some content, right? I actually think this is like a really cool boss fight. Just because of these two guys fighting, Solaris and Lunaris, it looks so cool. Alright. I wanted to get a sip of water, and then we're gonna participate, so let's get this fight started.
I need more mana.
Okay. Oh, he's getting chunked. How? Okay, we got one. And we got the other. Nice.
Solaris, Lunaris. Eclipse cold pride.
And Solaris Lunaris actually unlocks 2 more. Basically, this unlocks all their major gods. Solo Solaris and Lunaris are actually both pretty good. Take a look at what they do. I think you can actually pick and choose. Like, it's kind of up to you which one you want. Brine King kind of helps with stuns. Lunaris is basically good defense, and then Arakali is defense against damage over time. So you can pick and choose. You can mess around with your pantheon, see which ones you like. Every time you're in town, you can switch them for something else. So you can't hot swap them like in a map or in a zone, but you could, you know, depending on which boss you're fighting, switch around your pantheons, and that would help a lot with your defenses. So just keep that in mind. If you're having trouble with certain bosses, maybe even look at your pantheons. You know, just look for ways where you can just oh my god, like fix your defenses a little bit here and there, and overall it would make a pretty big difference. What? It's killing me. Wow. Why does this guy hurt so much? I feel like he has something. I think he had something that made everything around him invulnerable. I thought they removed that from the game, but I guess not. Okay. Pretty good. Honestly, our clear is looking so good right now, right? It just feels great.
When I'm ready.
I actually don't need Frostbolt. I can just run up and cast Ice Nova right now. And that does enough damage. That's insane. Blue packs, I probably need to do this Frostbolt Ice Nova. But overall, we're just doing a lot of damage, I think. Great DPS. This is good. So this area is actually like a really good area to farm if you're just low on EXP, right? So if you find you're under-leveled, you rush too hard, Blood Aqueducts is a pretty good area to farm. And it also drops this card called Humility, which if you collect enough of them, allows you to sell for Tabula Rasa, which is basically a 6-socket item. So that's where you, or 6-linked item, so that's one way of getting 6 links. 25% more spell damage if you've been stunned while casting. Final repeat of spells has increased AoE. Increased cast speed for each non-instant spell you've cast recently. Spells which gain intensity. Spells support by Unleash. Chance to open. None of these are really good. I can go for some AoE, I suppose. Final repeat of spells is 30% increased AoE. Yeah, we could try it.
Oh. Until next time.
Yes.
Okay, let's just sell a couple items real quick. Oh. What did I just sell?
Until next time.
I clicked something and I sold something I didn't mean to, but I don't know what I sold. Whatever, it's fine.
Hello.
Okay, we don't need these. 52-minute mark. We can probably go a little bit further. We're currently in Act 9. We're so close. We're so close to finishing up. So maybe let's just get the last waypoint. Act 9 probably takes a little longer. I feel like Act 9 there's like a lot more content. Act 10 though is like very short. So as long as we can get Act 9 done, we should be able to get into maps relatively quickly. And then that will be the end of the campaign. So yeah, I mean, let's just take a look here. So we're kind of back to like what the Act 5 like HAL set was, right? Let's maybe get the next waypoint. And then we'll call it, because we are pretty much at the 1 hour mark, right? 53 minutes. Overall, the character, like, what's changed? You know, today we got the second set of ascendancy nodes. Quite honestly, if I were to remake this character, I would get Void Beacon first, right? The one which makes everything around me have less cold resistance. It's probably just good overall. And then after, I could consider Profane Bloom, or potentially I might even go for which is the one that gives me energy shield. Vile Bastion. I might even go for Vile Bastion next. So I'll get like 1 offensive skill and 1 defensive. Right now what we have is 1 offensive skill and the other one is just clear. Which typically is like more useful when you are it's more useful when you're doing maps because the pack sizes are a little bit bigger. Oh, this is ROG. Guys, I'm not gonna go through ROG. I'm not gonna talk about Expedition. It's a bit of a clusterfuck. I think I'll talk about that next time. But long story short, though, like Expedition's actually quite profitable. The reason it's profitable is because I don't even know if it's gonna make any sense, but it allows you to like gamble for a lot of currency, and it's basically a money printer. So we can talk about it. Takes a little bit to talk about, which is why I don't want to do it now. But Expedition, maybe next time when we see it again, we can go through it real quick. The the sort of 10-second spiel of it is like you get a limited number of like explosives. You blow up markers that show that enemies are on it. And then once you blow up those markers, you kill those enemies and then they drop loot. That's pretty much it. And then they drop like league specific currency that you can then use against the with the NPCs, and then they sell like specialized items. So there's like 4 NPCs. One sells items, but you don't know the rarity, so they'll like randomly roll the rarity for you, so you're gambling for like rare items and like unique items with that person. Another person just sells straight currency, so like different kinds of currencies, you know, like crafting materials, right? So, and that's what I mean by like that guy's a money printer. The third guy like uses the currency to like randomly roll your gear, and he's like really useful for like sometimes you can get lucky rolls with him. And then the fourth guy is like jack of all trades kind of thing, where he just sells you the currency for the other 3 people. That's like the gist of how Expedition works. You can definitely go much deeper because there are these things called logbooks, which is sort of like a big dungeon that's like pure Expedition. So instead of getting like 3 or 4 explosives to blow up the area around you for loot, you get like 30 explosives. And that's sort of like the big culminating league content for Expedition. But it's definitely something where we would have to spend like a good 10-20 minutes to talk about it. I just, right now is not the time, I think. Plus I don't like doing Expedition, so even when I talk about, I'm like, I don't have too much knowledge on it because I don't like running it. I just find it like kind of tedious. So what ends up happening is I don't do it. Oh, this is Queen of the Sands. This is an optional quest, so let's go ahead and just not do it. We'll just keep going. Yeah, that's the Oasis for Queen of the Sands, right? Yeah, we're gonna go this way. So in a way, this is what it means to rush and speedrun, right? Like you're gonna skip some of the more useless stuff. Although Queen of the Sands is pretty good because it gives you a passive skill point, but I don't know. I since this is just like a test character, we can just go without it. So like, this isn't a good example of like, you know, you see a lot of people asking, should I play Path of Exile now? There's only like 2 weeks left to go until the start of a new league. There's only 10 days left to go until the start of a new league. You know, should I bother playing it? And the answer is like, well, at least play it so you can have an idea of how you're going to play the league. Like, do you have a character in mind? Are you just going to wing it mid-league? You know, this is a good way, especially if you're a new character, to just like get your feet wet before the league content starts. You know, it gives you a leg up in a way, right? So try out different kinds of characters, try out different skills, see what you like, see what you don't like, and then by the time the league starts, you're gonna have a better idea. Okay, you know, I played a ice witch during my testing. It was okay, but I died a lot. Let's try playing something a little bit more tanky. Let's go for a marauder. You know, I learned some things during my first playthrough. It turns out I actually need to max out my resistances. Turns out I need to get a lot of life. I didn't do that on my passive tree. I just got a lot of dexterity. Apparently dexterity sucks. And, you know, like, your stats are not that useful. It's only there to cap out equipment. Didn't know that, but now that I know, I can build my character better. So just having that experience is probably pretty beneficial. Okay, let's get this guy.
I need more mana.
Okay, easy peasy. And this is the 1 hour mark. We got the basilisk. We give this thing to Sin. And then next time we only need to go through like 3 or 4 zones, which would make it a lot faster. So I actually think next episode, what's going to happen is we could probably go through Act 9 and like either 2/3 or like half of Act 10.
Bye.
Which means that we're probably like an hour and a half away from completing the rest of the campaign. Really excited to doing so, just to see. So far it looks like our character is going to do fine. It's going to go through the campaign fine. Time to test how it works against maps. I don't have all the gear necessary for it, so which means we're going to have to self-craft some gear, which is fine because we need to test what happens if you don't have enough currency as well. But that's the end of this episode. Thank you guys very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, as always, you can leave a like and subscribe to my channel for more updates in the future. Otherwise, keep in touch, guys. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.